Welcome back everyone. We are less than 1 week away from the final shape, and that means that we are less than 1 week away from a brand new sandbox in Destiny 2. Now there are a ton of weapons which are going to be getting multiple buffs, mainly because of the loss and deprecation of the spec mods, being the boss spec, major spec, minor spec and adept big one spec. And so because of that, I wanted to go through a few weapons that are not only going to be good, but are also technically going to be disappearing from the available loot pool imminently. And that mainly is because the helm is going to be disappearing. It's obviously probably going to get some sort of refresh, and so there is a ton of weapons here that you're potentially not going to be able to get your hands on again for the foreseeable future. Now, if you've been playing a lot of Destiny 2 this year, then maybe you've already picked some of these up. Maybe you are just missing out on a red border pattern or two here or there, or maybe even you have just come back to the game and you didn't know that these were here, or maybe even you've been grinding for the wrong role. So I'm just going to go through a few of the vendors here and point out some weapons that I think are standout picks for one reason or another, and just point out some perk rolls that maybe you should be hunting down and ones that have got potential good synergy with the sandbox in the final shape and beyond into the episodes going forwards. So as if by magic, we are at the Sonar Station and we are looking at some of the Season of the Deep weapons. Now for me, I think a lot of these weapons are underrated, underappreciated and a little bit slept on. So as you can tell, with the deep engram decoding, we do have two rows of weapons. We've got the Taken style weapons, and then we've also got the reprised Reckoning era weapons from way back when in Season of the Drifter. And so there's a few weapons here that I have got my eye on and that I have definitely grinded out and got all the red border patterns. If you haven't, then I'd highly recommend getting the Taken ones, because not only do they look very cool, but they're also very unique in the sandbox in terms of what they can do. Now for me, my first pick is the Targeted Redaction. Now is one of my favourite Void hand cannons, and the Targeted Redaction is one of the main ones that I use if I'm running any Void subclass builds. Now Void is set to be flavour of the month very shortly, because we haven't had any Void specific artifact mods recently, and one of the main perk rolls that I use on my Targeted Redaction is the combination of Outlaw and Destabilizing rounds. Now this combination is one of my favourites for a number of reasons. Outlaw is really going to improve that reload speed, which is absolutely abysmal on aggressive frame 120 RPM hand cannons, and then with Destabilizing rounds you're going to spread that volatile goodness to nearby enemies, and because of the heavy hitting nature of this 120 RPM hand cannon, then everything that is volatile is pretty much easy pickings. And even though you do have a small mag size, then you can boost that up with the backup mag. Probably going to be one of the best mod options going forwards in the final shape and beyond. Now this one is just absolutely amazing. I do really like this hand cannon, and then if you do manage to get the Unsated Hunger origin trait going, then you're going to boost the handling and stability of this aggressive frame hand cannon absolutely through the roof, and it really does feel like a 140 at this point once you do get that Outlaw and the Unsated Hunger going. I've used this in Briarbinds builds, Controverse Hold builds with my Warlock, anything like that where I've got constant ability uptime, I'm dropping rifts, throwing grenades, using my melee ability, and I've got all these perks just absolutely just cycling through them, and Targeted Redaction is one of my favourites that I use in a ton of builds, to be fair. Now the next one here is the Distant Pull, and this is a standout pick for a number of reasons, mainly because Bungie removing that 15% damage increase that kinetics have over their energy counterparts in terms of dealing with boss damage. Now we covered this one recently, but this is a rapid fire sniper rifle, and it arguably comes with a really good perk combination of triple tap along with focused fury. Now this is going to be excellent for boss damage, and then if you're using it in any stasis builds, which I think stasis is really going to be flavour of the month, mainly due to the absolute massive buff that they've given to the stasis subclass. So this is going to work with any of your surges, any sort of overcharged modifiers that are going to be in any activities going forwards, and then with triple tap and focused fury you're going to be able to deal some good high burst DPS with this sniper rifle. well. Now lastly from the taken weapons on this list is the different times, which is the rapid fire strand pulse rifle. Now we haven't got too many good strand weapons in my opinion, and this thing just is a solid workhorse, and if you are looking for a good strand weapon that is going to fit in nicely into any of your strand builds, then this pulse rifle with some enhanced perks such as subsistence or outlaw, along with hatchling or maybe even adrenaline junkie in that final column, just really does have a ton of great perks and some good build crafting synergy potential. Now before we move on from this area in the Sonar Station, then there's one more weapon that I want to cover, and it is the iconic Spare Rats, the Spare Rations hand cannon. Now this returned, and to be fair, with very little fanfare, but there is a standout perk pick on this one. Now, I know a lot of people are chasing the Midnight Coup for a number of reasons, and the main one is because of its ability to roll with kinetic tremors, but the Spare Rations can also roll with kinetic tremors, so if you, like me, have a ton of deep engrams available and RNG has not been in your favour in terms of grinding for a Midnight Coup with kinetic tremors, then maybe, just maybe, I think you might want to take a look at trying to chance your hand at getting the Spare Rations. Now, this comes with kinetic tremors in that final column and doesn't have obviously that double perk combo that you probably really want with the Midnight Coup, but you compare this with something like Rapid Hit in that third column, or maybe even Subsistence, and to be fair, there is a few other perk combos there as well that really could do bits in the sandbox going forwards. And obviously kinetic weapons are going to really help with that prismatic subclass builds in terms of getting bonus energy for the dark and the light abilities to charge that meter and get going with that transcendence ability. And so Spare Rations, if you have not got a good Midnight Coup, then they're the same archetype, they're going to do the same things, and with kinetic tremors then you really can't go far wrong with it. And just like that, we're at the war table. Now, there is a few perks on these weapons which are worth getting, and I'm not going to go through a ton of them because, to be fair, a few of them have been power crept, such as the Regnant. I mean, you basically just want to get an edge transit. So, to be fair, the only one that I think you might want to look at is the Prodigal Return. Now, this is one of only 2 grenade launchers which can roll with Vault Shot, and with the chain reaction perk being nerfed, especially with everyone's favourite Forbearance in the final shape, then I think Vault Shot on grenade launchers is going to be a go-to pick. It's got excellent ad clear potential, and then if you get some good reload boosting perk in that third column, then I really think that Prodigal Return with Vault Shot can be a good ad clearing grenade launcher, and you know, they really are good. Now, the only other one is Undercurrent, which is a wave frame, which I think is technically better, but if you haven't been grinding Nightfalls and you missed out on the chance to get the Undercurrent Adept from the Grandmaster recently, then the Prodigal Return with the enhanced perks that you can get by crafting it really is a good other option that I think you should be getting. Now next we are over in the Atheneum and looking at some of the Season of the Witch weapons. Now there is a few good picks here, and I think maybe one that might be coming into its own going forwards is the Eleatic Principle. Now this is an arc rapid fire heavy machine gun, and now it is the only one off the top of my head which is an arc rapid fire frame machine gun, and there is a few perks on this, and obviously this is going to synergize nicely with them arc subclass builds in terms of getting ionic traces going and stuff like that, and increasing the handling and basically just the feel of the weapon. So if you're going to want to use this for any sort of boss damage or anything like that, then you do have target lock. Now it's not going to be the best perk on this one because you can't overflow the magazine as such with any perks in that third column, but if you want in a good solid arc ad clear machine gun, then I think maybe Golden Tricorn could be the pick with this one, because if you do get an ability final blow, then you're going to be buffing the damage output of this thing by up to 50%, and then if you get something like Eddy Current going in that third perk column, then you're going to get a massive boost to your reload speed, especially when amplified, and then paired with the massive uptime that ionic traces can give you in any of your favourite arc subclass builds, then this thing could be absolutely mental for ad clearing. It's probably one that I have literally seen nobody talking about, so it might be worth picking up. Another one that is worth picking up is the Semiotician. Now this thing is one of my absolute favourite rocket launchers, and for good reason. It comes with just some really good solid high burst DPS options. Now it is a high impact frame, which isn't everyone's favourite in terms of its damage output, but you can get bipod in that final column, which is going to double your magazine size, and then if you have something like field prep, then you're going to get more ammo in reserves, and this thing just really is a really nice weapon to use, especially in any of your strand builds. In terms of other weapons you might want to go for from the ritual table, you can also get the recovered red war weapons. Now there's a few on here. There is the Nightshade, which is the strand rapid fire pulse rifle. Now this thing does come with hatchling in that final column, which obviously works in nicely with any of your strand builds, and there's a ton of good perks in that third perk column. You've also got the Showrunner, which is another kinetic submachine gun, and the main thing I think you want to look out for on this one is kinetic tremors. Now I know machine guns aren't the best in terms of activating kinetic tremors just because of the amount of hits you need to use to activate it, but kinetic tremors just really is one of them good well-rounded perks, and if you're looking at something like overflow in that third column, then you're going to boost the magazine size of this weapon by up to 74 rounds in the mag, and it really is a good pick to go for if you've got a few Witches Ingrams available. Now lastly, we are over at the Ghost of Riven, and obviously pretty much all of the basic Season of the Wish weapons are standout picks in my opinion. Any of them, all of them are really good options. The main one that I think you should be going for here, and the main ones I think you should be going for, are the Undying weapons. Everyone is going on about the Darkest Before from the Prophecy dungeon, and to be honest, I've been trying to get one, but the drop rate is absolutely abysmal, and the only reason people are going for it is because of the Heal Clip Incandescent perk roll combo that you can get on it. Now Solar probably isn't going to be the flavour of the month for a long time, to be fair, because of how much everyone has been using it recently, but the Adhorative adaptive frame pulse rifle from the Undying weapons is another pulse rifle that you can get. You can craft it, you can enhance the perks, and it also comes with Heal Clip and Incandescent. Don't be like me, don't waste your time in Prophecy Dungeon, just go and get this thing unlocked, especially if you've got an absolute ton of Wish Engrams available. Then the Adhorative, really worth picking up and really worth getting. Likewise, the Subjunctive is the lightweight frame submachine gun. It comes with Vault Shot in that final perk column, and so if you haven't got the Ikelos SMG with Vault Shot, this thing is definitely worth picking up. It is a lightweight frame as well, so it does give you that little bit of a mobility boost, and arguably does have better perks than the Ikelos. And then as a bonus pick from the exotic kiosk in the tower, then I'd probably want to keep my eye on the Oxygen Scout Rifle, especially with that Mega Neura perk. Might be worth picking up if you haven't already got it. But there we go, there is my quick whistle stop tour of the helm, the weapons that I think you should definitely be tying down before the start of the final shape, and hopefully get you in good stead in terms of your loadouts for any of your favourite subclass builds, and some that are going to do absolute bits with the new Prismatic subclass as well. All of your support recently has been absolutely mental, I do massively appreciate it. We are going to be continuing with these casual breakdown style videos, but we do still have some 3-minute build videos, and they will be coming back in the final shape and beyond as well. So if you want quick builds, if you want in-depth breakdowns of weapons and stuff like that in a more casual style, then you know what to do and you know where to find them. If you've been here before, please consider subscribing and also joining our fellow members to get some bonus goodies to show off in the comments. Thank you very much for watching this video, and if you want an absolutely awesome endgame ready build, then I think you want to click this next video right here.